Hello and welcome to this Talk Tuesday. I'm Mia Saenz and this is Lori Montry. We are the co-founders of the Greatest You Academy and we're really excited that you're here. The holidays seem to be a place where a lot of people, let's face it, especially in the United States and probably other English-speaking countries, we go absolutely berserk and crazy. Both families do. There's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of discord, and it should be very harmonious for us. So we're going to talk today about cultivating mindfulness for the holidays. So did you want to jump in and say anything before we start, honey?
No, I just, working as we do with so many people, we start to hear what are the trends what are the issues that a lot of people are feeling around the holidays, and it kind of comes down to extra busyness, which just, even when it's good things, right, is activating for our nervous system. It's a lot. It takes our capacity. And when it's maybe not so good things, even more so. Right. But, understanding that being busy, even when it's things that you want, things that make the holiday time special, like in the best case scenario, oh, I love making cookies. I love, going to all these parties. I love buying gifts. I love doing, but in an already busy schedule, right? Bringing in all of these extra things, even if they seem important to you, wow, it costs a lot of capacity. And so it's just important for us to note that. And then, as we'll talk about, be mindful of those things and then ask the question, am I pushing myself too much? And so none of it's really enjoyable like I want it to be, right? I have this preconceived notion that making the cookies and all of my presents being wrapped so perfect, all of those things are just so wonderful. But if it's costing me so much that I don't feel good, I don't feel connected, I feel like I'm, running around with my head cut off, then is it really worth it, right? How can I choose? What are some of the things that are really important to me but not going beyond capacity? And also, how can I give myself more capacity? Right? We tend to think that this is the only way is to get rid of stuff, but sometimes we can be making sure, as we'll talk about, that we're filling our cup with other things. So certainly we'll be touching on that. Another thing that people share a lot with us right now is loneliness, which we'll get into because that's a huge factor for so many people. We have this idea the holidays are supposed to be this incredible, bonding and all these kind of things. And you're supposed to be with these people. And it's just this. And sometimes it's not. And so we're left feeling like, oh no, what's wrong with me? Or the intensity of, not having those things can be a lot. And the third thing we see a lot of is I have to go and be with people that are really triggering because of our past relationship, because of everything that we've experienced up to today. Sometimes it's hard to be with them, either because we don't see eye to eye on things or because I have a lot of wounds that are caused by these people. And so it's hard for me to go and, maybe they're not in a place where they recognize that and can validate that for me. So I have to be, I have to not be in that space of honoring what's happened for me when I'm with these people, because otherwise it's just a big mess instead of a get together. So these are some of the things that we want to kind of address as we're thinking about coming into the holidays and what you might be experiencing. So I think we've got a lot of good stuff to help in with those situations and more.
Thank you. Yes, that's beautiful. So we have a lot of techniques up here. We have both cultivating mindfulness for the holidays. And then next week, we're going to talk about navigating the holidays. It can be challenging with some different types of tools. So we're going to be splitting stuff up. There is, well, we'll just start to go through them. Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So we find, and one of the best sources is meditation. That is because what we're doing here is there's several ways in which you can connect to yourself, your mindfulness practice, but we really also want to help you quickly cultivate something so that you can have focus and awareness and balance in your body and life during this holiday season. So meditation is a great practice regularly, but even to just calm your thoughts in the morning to get yourself ready for the day. So you work on reducing stress, you increase self-awareness. These things are really important as you incorporate your mindfulness. Things shift within you, right? You become more tolerant, or you have an ease with things. So that's a beautiful space to bring inner peace. We also recommend being aware when you need to do your breath work, or when you need to breathe deeply. Those exercises are very important. Moving through, engaging yourself with openness and proper balance within. So there's a couple of them that Lori and I recommend. Do you want to start off with that? We also next have somatic, so I was going to set you loose on that.
Yeah, perfect.
So Lori and I love box breathing. So box breathing is a really beautiful breath work type of breathing that supports you calming down your stress zone. So sometimes people can only have the capacity to count up to 4 and to hold the space of 4. The way to work up to it, as you get calmer, you can go to 5 counts or 6 counts or 7 counts. And so what you do is, it looks like a box. Imagine that as you're going. So you inhale, count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you hold that space. 2, 3, 4. Then you exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you hold that empty space. You can do it. 3, 4. Good. And then you breathe again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then hold the empty space. You can do it. 2, 3, 4. And you go around again. And as you do this, as you get calm, I call it like being on hydraulics. It's like you're stressed, and then all of a sudden you're going, goo, 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 goo. It's a really beautiful experience. If you're really super stressed out, and you're in the moment, I recommend, it's called the candle. So you breathe in, and you can do that in front of people if you have to, or you can turn your back to people for a moment and just start to balance yourself. You don't have to always run into the bathroom. And if you do have to run into the bathroom in order to do your breath work or your somatic or whatever, do it to stay balanced. I guarantee you, those of us who have done this a lot have learned that we've had to have our moments in the bathroom. Maybe somebody thinks we have an overactive whatever. It doesn't matter, because it balances us, and we can then come out and have a beautiful experience, which enriches other people's experiences as well. So then number 3, somatic awareness, paying attention to the bodily sensations and using techniques such as body scans can enhance your awareness in physical tensions and promote relaxation. So during this time of increased stress, it's really important to look at this. Now, Lori, would you like to share a couple of somatic experiences that they could use?
Yeah. So, as you guys probably know, I consider somatic experiencing really somatic communication, meaning you're paying attention to what's going on in your body, and you're opening the channels so that you're almost having a conversation with the body. The body can communicate with you. You can be in your body, be noticing and be aware of the sensations that are present for you. And that's just such an important thing for a number of reasons. One is that, when we're being paid attention to, right, we have that sense of safety, that sense of being validated, that sense of being safe. We can't feel safe if we're being completely ignored. Right? How are you going to know what my needs are? You're not seeing me, right? Think about a kid who's just being completely ignored. Go away, go to your room, go away. Right? That's going to engender a sense of danger, because the person who I need to take care of me doesn't know what my needs are. And so if you think about somatic experiencing from that perspective, paying attention to what's going on can really help bring in that sense of well-being, that sense of safety. And you know, it also has a profound impact on your nervous system. So for these reasons, this can be one of the your most valuable tools for remaining mindful, for finding that safety, even in, and I say safety, but understand that that means, you know, when we're activated and we're like, oh my gosh, so much is going on, I don't even know what to do. And or in a situation like I was describing before, in a family situation where, you know, maybe you're feeling really triggered because of a lot of things that have happened in the past. So bringing in that beautiful companion to yourself, which is you, right? And seeing you, hearing you, being in relationship with you is so important. And I just want to say, because I often mention this, but you know, the breathing and the somatic work, it is appropriate for almost everybody. But I always want to offer the caveat that, you know, you may feel more activated if you start paying attention, or breathing may make you feel more anxious or more upset. And I'd want to mention that because if that happens for you, that's a normal thing. And I don't want you to get nervous about that. I don't want you to give up on things. I don't want you to think you're just, you know, a weirdo, that none of this stuff works for you, because none of that stuff is true. What could be happening is that you are in a state of, you know, being truly triggered, activated, so much so that the thought of even coming down from that is more activating. Because imagine this, this is the best way to explain it. If you're being chased by a tiger, right, you're in danger, you're super anxious, you're all worked up, and I tell you sit down and do some box breathing, you're going to feel a lot more threatened, because now I've taken away, you know, your ability to protect yourself, right? And so sometimes our systems are so wired that doing things to calm down actually puts us in more of a sense of danger. And that doesn't happen a lot. So I don't want to paint the picture that, you know, I shouldn't use these because I might get more wired. It's just in case you notice that, you're perfectly normal. It just means that you might be a little bit higher on that activation scale than you may realize. And in that case, something, you know, something movement oriented may be
Which
really.
is our next topic.
Yeah, yeah. And so movement in the kind of the more traditional sense, but also movement in your somatic practice. So I want to offer you one that is kind of a more movement or resolution based exercise. And then I want to offer you one that's more of like that calming, bringing a sense of peace and presence,
Do you,
embodiment.
sorry to interrupt. Do you want to hold off on that movement one till the movement one, which is just right after this, or do you want to give it
Yeah,
now?
it isn't movement in a traditional sense. It's
Okay.
more of like a somatic, because
Okay.
it's
Got it.
happening, but all movement is somatic, right? It's
Yeah.
hard for us to even put these things into categories because they overlap so much
Do
and
you also
intertwine.
talk about the body scan really quick too? Because that's in the work that I'm going to be sending out afterwards.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So, with respect to the body scan, you know, you can think of it as, hey, body, I know that you're experiencing some stuff, right? I'm feeling that anxiety. So I want to pay attention to you. I want to just be with and have an embodied experience with what you're going through. And so just starting, it's very simple. It's something that you could easily do in 60 seconds, right? Because we have to make these doable. You can stretch them out and make them these lovely practices when you have time, but so often in the moment, we don't have those opportunities, and we shouldn't think to ourselves, well, since I don't have 5 minutes or 10 minutes to do this exercise, there's nothing I can do, right? We can literally do many of these things in less than a minute's time. So with the body scan, you know, it's the idea again is just to get inside the body, notice, be internal with your system. And so we can really just start at the feet, and we're looking for the sensations. We're opening the doors of communication with our bodies. What are the sensations that I'm noticing? What are the feelings? Is there warmth, coolness, tension, relaxation, buzzing, tingling? And what else? Yeah, just literally anything, right? We're just paying attention and noticing what it is. So we'll start with the feet. I like to start with my feet flat on the floor, really feel the earth pushing up against me, and begin this exercise from a really grounded, tapped in, tuned in kind of place. And then start to work up. You can go from ankles. What do I notice in my ankles? What's going on there? What are the sensations? And it's okay. I don't really feel anything in my ankles. That's okay, right? We're just going to move up and open that door, moving up to your lower legs, your calves, your knees, your upper legs, the weight of your hips in the chair, supported by the chair, moving into your belly, your heart space. And you can do this as slow as you like to really open up and hear from these different parts. Move into your shoulders, your arms, your hands, neck, jaw, face, head. And if you find an area that seems to be particularly active, or where you notice, oh gosh, there's that big knot in my stomach, or oh, I have a pain in my heart, or a lot of tension in my shoulders, you can spend another minute supporting that area of the body, just allowing your hand or a pillow to provide gentle touch and support. And in that way, hopefully generate a sense of well-being. Oh, wow, I'm safe because somebody's paying attention to me. And bringing in that support piece sends powerful messages to your nervous system that you are okay, right? It's activated. It doesn't know why it's activated. It could be that tiger, right? Or it could be too much on your to-do list, or not, running out of wrapping paper, or whatever it is. So using the support piece to come in and calm that can really be effective in bringing back that sense of peace, safety, being mindful, being present, from which place you're able to connect and enjoy what you're doing, and the holidays, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that would be the body scan with support.
Yeah, and then you're going to share the I wrote it down. You're going to share, hold on, the movement, the somatic movement, and then the other thing you're going to share.
Yeah. So if we think about what's happening in the nervous system when we're getting into that activated space, right? Oh my gosh, there's so much to do. Oh, I got to see that person. Oh, I'm so lonely. I don't have what everybody else has, right? So regardless of the cause, if you're in that kind of activated state, and sometimes it's really intense and you don't want to calm down, right? You want to take care of the problem. And so we can feed our nervous system messages that we have taken care of the problem, that we had a problem and now it's resolved. We did what we needed to in order for us to deal with the problem. And that's a really incredible signal to your nervous system that it's safe now. Okay, we took care of that, right? And so this exercise is called the push away. Or sometimes you might see it as called creating space. And to do this exercise, it's really very simple. I'll explain it first and we can do it together. But you're going to pretend like there's a giant boulder in front of you, not so giant that you couldn't move it if you're really using a lot of your force, but big. It's going to take a lot of effort. And so you're going to use your hands. You're going to put your hands on this boulder. You're going to create some tension in your arms, and you're going to push, you keeping the resistance, imagining you're pushing that boulder away. And when you get it out away from you, you can spread your arms and just really create some space for yourself. Okay. You can do this slower. You can do it 2 or 3 times. You can, when you finish here, you can put your hands up over and just create a place, or you can think of it like creating a bubble for yourself. Right? Oh, I move that problem out of my way, right? You don't have to involve the mind too much with it. Like, oh, this is, if it's helpful, it's okay. But we're mostly focusing on feeding the nervous system the information. Hey, we move that thing out of the way, and we're good now. Because that built up energy, it's stored there, and it's, if it's being held in the body, then it's going to keep sending the message, hey, we got a problem, hey, something's going on, hey, be aware, be hyper alert. And so when we move that out of the way, we can give the nervous system an information that it's taken care of. So these are, we're sharing different tools with you, and essentially we're helping you create a holiday tool belt that you can use as you're going out and being in these situations, or dealing with feelings or wounds or whatever it is. But you're going to have to try them on and kind of get a sense for yourself. Unfortunately, we can't tell you which ones you should use and how you should do it in exactly this way, because your system is the boss. And so we want to, give you these, and hopefully, you're writing down the different possibilities, trying them on, and maybe trying them on outside the moment when you're not super triggered, so that they won't feel so strange and foreign. They'll feel a little bit safer to do in the moment as well. But these are some of the initial things that we can do to start working with that activated energy.
Thank you. Wonderful. And then the last one was, we had talked about the body scan, the energy, and then there was one more. Was there one more that you
The
wanted?
movement?
No, that was, we did the,
Yeah, okay.
it was, let's see, real quick. It was, well, I think that's all that creation has for us in this space right now, which is okay, right?
Yeah, and I think that's, it does kind of cover, depending on where you are, I think it gives a nice little range. It gives a possibility of, hey, if calming down doesn't feel right, push it away and protect yourself, kind of
Right.
a energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we did want to give
Beautiful.
kind of that variety that would provide in different kinds of situations.
Yeah.
And if you're tuned in and listening, your nervous system will give you some hints, especially as you get more and more proficient at using these tools. It will give you some hints. Hey, I really need to push away right now. Oh, I just need to calm down. I just need to, go inside and check in with me. There's so much going on outside of me, right? I'm really externally focused at an event or something like that. I just need to come back and get back inside me. Those are the kinds of things that, we can pick and choose from, depending on the situation, depending on the state of our system. Yeah. So you have a little tool bag.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. Let's see, Michelle wrote something. Okay, that's fine, Michelle. I think it's fascinating because, and thank you, Michelle. I think it's fascinating because in the moment when something's needed, right? We talk about getting to the place where we just use that tool automatically and it helps us. I had a situation yesterday where I tweaked my arm getting my seatbelt, not on my left side, but I was a passenger, and it popped something. And what came out was ooh, not boo, but woo. And then I was
Just
like,
that.
I have to do the woo, because maybe that didn't work. And I want to say it works if you have the intention of, if you're doing it and it sounds off, you're okay, right? If you're afraid that something doesn't sound right, look right, as long as it feels like it's supportive and you're doing it in that process, you're doing it okay, you're fine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's really about, tuning in and these exercises allowing for that communication, right? These aren't magic potions. These aren't, jump up and down 3 times, turn around, and, some kind of magic thing. These are avenues to open us to our system, to get back embodied and to be aware of our internal environment. And that feeds cues of safety, right? So yeah, however you're doing it, as long as you're doing it and paying attention. If you're doing one of the exercises and your head is way over here and you're not connecting with your body, then it's not going to be helpful to you.
Yeah.
because that's not what it's about. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And these are, but feel free to experiment and do variations of your own. Absolutely. This isn't a
Yeah.
magic formula. This is an invitation to begin to, work with your system and notice what's happening for you, and
Yeah.
go off on them, whatever tangent feels supportive. That's the whole, these are jumping off points, what we
Mhm.
offer to you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful. My oncologist at one point said, Mia, we're not in a monogamous relationship. This is what this reminds me of. However you're doing it, you don't have to do it one way because you're not married to it. You are experimenting for, and I love that, you're experimenting to help support your own thing. So grab things as you're doing it. Like if you wanted to breathe, and we don't recommend, we don't specifically say do it this way, and it feels right during one of the processes to push away or whatever, do it. Right, Lori? Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what, when you get to the point where your system asks for something, wow, that really shows you are
Right.
doing some incredible work.
Yeah.
So don't,
Beautiful.
be listening for that,
Yeah. So don't
because
think that you have to do it one way. There's so many ways. Yeah.
yeah, but at
Beautiful.
first, if we just tell you, hey, go pay attention to your nervous system and do what feels good. Until we start to build some skills and have
Yeah.
something under our belt, that would not be supportive of us. So we, and these exercises are part of a huge library of exercises, not only that we use, but that also exist out in the world. And so it's a big universe, big
Beautiful.
universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. As much as I've studied with the somatic experiencing, I'm always learning something new. In fact, right now I'm taking a applied polyvagal theory for yoga with respect to trauma recovery, and learning new things within that branch. So it's it's infinite, right? Our systems can guide us and offer us they need in order to feel better, to feel
Beautiful.
mindful, attentive. Yeah.
So our next experience for you is mindful movement. So engaging in mindful movement practices such as yoga or Tai Chi certainly can help connect the body and mind while promoting physical and emotional balance. These practices can be especially beneficial during the holidays. When you schedule, it's make sure that you're scheduling these times so that they can support you during the hectic times. That rhymes. Oh my God, that whole thing rhymed. I'm feeling like Dr. Seuss here. So, not just, I mean, yoga and Tai Chi are beautiful. I am an experienced Tai Chi. I'm not a master, but I'm an experienced Tai Chi person. Uh, I've spent many years in Tai Chi, and that was after Reiki, and my energy expansion is beautiful. So that's really it's a less movement. I didn't find it movement. It's more about energy. I mean, are movements to it, but yoga is also a beautiful one because of the breath work that you can do and because of the awareness of your body. But we also say get a walk in at least 20 minutes a day because your brain needs to function.
Hmm.
Any type of movement around is incredibly supportive. And you'll find that if you're not a walker and you pick up even just a quick 30 minutes a day, if you can walk 30 minutes a day and listening to your favorite music, it will elevate you. Or you could even use that time for focused meditation stuff that you're creating, working on, expanding, using the energy to look at your holiday season in the full, I don't want to say perfection, but I'm using more of a divine term,
Hmm.
in the smoothness, in the beauty, in the awareness, in the interconnection with people that are smooth. If you've got Uncle Al who seems to cause trouble, continue to see Uncle Al in all of his aspects in a smoother way. It'll bring you harmony. And during that day that he gets there, you might be quite surprised that Uncle Al might be different. So these are some mindfulness movement techniques.
Yeah. One of the things that I love the most that I've learned, kind of new, but really drove home to me is embodying the quote that I don't remember right now where the quote is from, but we say that we don't use the body to get into the pose in yoga, but we use the pose to get into the
The
body.
body. Yeah.
Yeah. So in your yoga practice, not about being, oh, am I in this downward dog exactly correct? Was I supposed to go to war? Is it my right or is it my left? But just listening more to the body and to what it wants to experience and to the way it wants to move can sometimes be even more supportive than being in those nothing wrong with them, certainly they're beautiful in their own way, but sometimes in those practices where it's like you're really focused on getting everything right, getting it like a dance routine or something, and instead letting the body be in charge. Right, that's how we can make yoga more of a somatic practice when the body gets to lead.
Beautiful. So another one, number 5, is gratitude practices. We love gratitude practices. So cultivating a practice of gratitude, we know, can shift our focus, right, from negative to positive, from lack to abundance. And consider keeping a gratitude journal and other things that support you. I love to have people do a gratitude, either they'll grab their journal in the morning and start to write, or I ask when I'm working on one-on-one, choose 5 things every day. It has to be different, morning and night, completely different each day, of what you're grateful for. And if you're one who goes to the depths, or you may even see it as simpleness at first, maybe expand out your gratitude that you don't repeat the same things within a week. So, your teeth is an amazing gratitude thing. You chew, you brush them, all of that. Simple, even body parts that you recognize that support you during the holidays are
Mm-hmm.
very important, I think, to focus on in your gratitude journal. We've talked before, Lori, around the new year, so we'll share it now. Maybe you want to create a gratitude jar. So find a beautiful, like, canning jar or something, decorate it, and put the things that you are most grateful this holiday season in that jar. You could make this a holiday season jar that each year you pull it out December 1st and you start to put in those gratitude things that you're excited about. And then on the new year, pull them out each year and read them and see how that holiday that once seemed horrific has changed and what you have done to change yourself.
I love that
Yes, on
idea.
that thing.
Yeah, no, it's just gorgeous. And we get whatever we focus on, that's what we get more of.
Mhm.
So if we're focused on, having our needs met, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for toilet paper, for shampoo,
Yeah.
for, the heat just came on. Wow, I'm so grateful. Mia, last year had that storm and you were days without heat. So I know when I say grateful for heat, you're like, oh yeah, I was grateful for heat, and what we focus on, we get more of, our needs will be better met when we focus on the things that we are grateful for. That's what we'll find in our lives.
Yeah, I love that. Beautiful. Number 6, setting boundaries. Practicing mindfulness is all about setting boundaries so you don't overstress yourself during the holidays. Learning to say no to commitments that don't serve you or your family, or learning to say no, period,
Mhm.
because if you overextend, it doesn't serve you.
It doesn't serve anyone, right? Yeah. I've talked to so many people this year that say, I'm not sure that I want to decorate, or I only want to do this little bit, and so we've been exploring, okay, what are the messages that tell you that you should, right? And what's authentic to me, right? There's all this stuff, we get from the media, we get from our childhood, we get all these things that Christmas is supposed to be like that. What's an authentic Christmas to me? Wow, that's not even something, I've several people right now sitting with that question this week. What does it look like? Somebody is choosing not to decorate, and the only thing gift wise, she and her husband are going out to the fanciest restaurant that they love, and that's what they're focusing on. And they're not missing all the other things. That's what's important. That's what they're choosing to do. And it can be different next year, right? But this year, that feels authentic. So
Yeah.
asking that question, what feels authentic to you? And then setting the appropriate boundaries so that you can protect that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and things change year to year as we get older. If we still have children, how many children do we still have in the house? Everything changes according to our life. So that natural, beautiful flow of recreating in the moment what feels best for
Yeah.
you is really lovely. It takes the stress. I'm one who grew up in a household where, sorry, there's triggers still, where the holidays were the most important thing to my mother, literally every holiday, but especially Christmas. And every Christmas Eve, I would pray that they wouldn't fight, my parents, before Santa came so that Santa could come. And every day after Christmas lunch, the whole house fell apart again in chaos because the parents were fighting again. So recreate whatever comes to you, or create whatever comes to you. We don't
Yeah.
have to follow their path in the decorating and the fighting and all that stuff. I realized that I was one who would bring the fighting forward because it was what I was used to. And I sounds weird, but the more you get to understand the way that humanity works, your system works, human brains work, subconscious, all of that, you understand that yes, you can bring in this stuff into your relationship. So look at that stuff, be mindful about it. So set your boundaries. Okay, and the last one we have here is mindful eating. I love mindfulness eating because it's very much about what feels right for the body in the moment. And especially around the holidays, there's so much food out, and we don't need to. Not everybody has to have everything. And there are some people that won't want to have everything, and that's their choice. But it doesn't have to be everybody's choice. We get to choose what feels right for our body in the moment. What would you like to say about that?
Yeah, I think there's kind of two things that I'll mention. One of them is, when we set ourselves up and we say, not this year, I'm not going to, I'm not going to go down that route and eat all those things, right? And then usually what happens is that triggers us and we end up eating twice as much as we actually even would want, because that restriction is actually triggering and causes us to go overboard, or oh, I'm not going to do that. And then we decide to have a few bites of something. And then the brain says, oh my gosh, you're such a loser. Or it says, oh, well, the door's open tonight and I'm going to close it tomorrow. And be good again. So I'm going to go all out tonight, right? Because my window is closing. It's a very narrow window. And that, of course, just brings it so hard on our bodies to have to digest all of that sugar for, and we're going to feel rough for days after. And then, we might use food more in order to deal with the fact that we don't feel good. So it just kind of creates a spiral. And when we think about it, there might be slight joy in that moment. But overall, if we look at, the period of a few days, it's really not joyful. That food did not bring us joy. Right. So instead of doing that, really tuning in this mindful place and asking, what would be really enjoyable to me? Maybe there's a cake that I really, really love. So rather than saying it's either all or nothing, I say to myself, I really want to enjoy that cake. And I'm going to, sit with it. The other things, they'll be there. They'll be there next year. I could take some home with me, enjoy it another time, but not setting ourselves up for failure by being super restrictive, all or nothing, right? Where would the beautiful things of the holidays feed my soul? Where would it be truly worth it in the moment and then later as well?
Mhm.
Right? Because that's a big thing. I think where we feel like we're either good or bad, right? We're either the angel or the devil with it. And the goal, I think, is not to figure out how to how to deny ourselves, but to ask the question, like, what would make it special? And maybe you have some things that you really love that you can revamp and make them good for you, or a better quality product, a better something that works better in your body. So don't say I'm not going to have this. Say, how could I have the best quality of that? How could I enjoy it the most? What would be most enjoyable? Because I feel like we're in that all or nothing. And then once we, fail at something, well, forget it. The season is ruined, right? I'll start over on January 1st. Yeah, so maybe this year we could do that a little bit differently by being more mindful about what truly is enjoyable and allowing that in a way that, again, is enjoyable in the moment and an hour later, the
Beautiful.
next day.
Yeah. So by incorporating all of these mindfulness practices into your daily life, you can enhance the ability to stay present, manage your stress, and find balance during the holidays and the seasons and beyond. Now, next week, we're going to come to you with navigating the holidays, since they can be challenging. And so we're going to talk about self-care practices, reaching out for support, time management, mindful communication, establishing rituals, reflecting and reset, and professional support if needed. So stay tuned for more support, and welcome, or have a beautiful week, and we'll see you next week. And come over to the Academy page and say hello to us. All right, thank you. All right, see you next week.
Bye-bye. And to all of you on the replay, we appreciate you.
Very much so, and thank you.